Alright, I am testing my microphone right now. I have done a lot of things to try to improve the quality of what I'm doing here, so let me check the playback real quick to ensure that everything's fine with these new experiments. Just real quick, give me a moment. Alright, so everything seems to be working, and this is a revival of the old creepypasta series that I had done on Twitch that never got archived, called Not the Good Ones. So, as I said previously before, I split my ideas that I was originally doing in the chill streams, which was reading, sometimes more or less, while also gaming, which would just be offhand commentary, just quiet, so you can just kind of chill out, you know? And I don't think it's going to work out anymore, so I am bringing the series back, and I'm pretty excited about it because, for one, at least where I live, it is 1:17 in the morning. And it really gives off this mysterious, eerie feel that really gets you shivering. You know, weird sort of sense. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah. So I have a lot of ideas that I have brainstormed for what we're going to read today. It's going to be really, really dumb, as always, but real quick, I'm going to have someone say hello. Wait, oh, I turned off the TV. Oh my god. Come over, Ma.
No.
No, we gotta get closer to the microphone or it won't come out. I can't unplug it. Yeah, like right here.
Hi.
Okay. Okay, that's good enough, Ma. I think. Anyways, so let me do it. You know what? I'm gonna make a collection real quick. I'm gonna pause it, find the actual good stuff, and I'm gonna get back to this. Okay, Scratch Voice, I already found one that's already good. It's called Not Long Enough, and it's on the last episode of Creepypasta Wiki, which is where we read the one. Well, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. You already know which one I did, and it really sucked. Like, bad. So if you want to go back to the chill stream, you can go ahead and watch that, but we're going to be doing Not Long Enough. So, it's about a Futurama. Wait, what the heck am I doing here? Okay, here we go with our overdramatic voice. Until recently, it was thought that Matt Groening had completely recovered from what was making him act so strangely during the dead Bart incident, and that it had affected his normal life afterward. Recent claims from the employee who found the dead Bart video, however, indicated that Matt Groening went through another similar incident 10 years ago. It was the summer of 1999, and Futurama had recently premiered. Matt was working on 2 shows now and had started showing signs of stress, which is misspelled here, when he announced that he was working on another episode that would be 100% of his own writing. Wow, that's a miracle, because if you know anything about the production of The Simpsons or Futurama, he barely even does any pen work, so. Anyways, this terrified some of the staff who worked on both shows, but they were hesitant to bring up dead Bart, and the Futurama crew saw no reason to reject Matt's idea. An early version of it was made, and the employee who found dead Bart managed to make a digital copy of this as well. The episode was called Not Long Enough. The episode started with Fry, Leela, and Bender making a delivery for Planet Express. They never revealed exactly what they were delivering or seemed to be upset about an unexplained event that had happened recently. Leela and Bender were angry at Fry, who kept apologizing but was coldly rejected by his friends. They eventually reached a planet that seemed to have only one house surrounded by empty, desolate fields on all sides. And then they knocked the door, and a grotesque alien that seemed to be very old answered. He took the box without a word and he opened it. Then he took a knife out and they stabbed himself. The Plants Express crew didn't seem to find this odd or surprising. They simply left the body on the ground and walked back to their ship in silence. The next scene was of the Planet Express ship flying through space. A dissonant piece of music made of extremely loud instruments playing a very slow tune played in the background while they ship flew through an empty black speck. They finally reached Earth and landed in a deserted New York. Fry started apologizing again as they walked through the empty streets. There was no sign of the Planet Express building, but Leela, and Bender glared at him in silence. Fry gave up and separated from his friends, and then he walked for quite a while, never encountering a single person. He reached the cryogenics building where he had been frozen and looked inside. Wow, that's already a very confusing sentence, but anyways. Then he began to cry. The crying went on for a few minutes before he entered the building. Fry went to one of the tubes, set the timer on it to a huge number with more zeros than I can count, and locked himself in. The screen faded out, and when it came back into view, it was entirely on the Fry. What is it with these creepypastas and putting down all the time? Anyways, the machine must have partially stopped working, as parts of Fry were decaying. Well, yeah, they go out. They turn cold first, and then they start going really, really bad. But anyways, bone was poking throughout his skin in several places. Fry mumbled, "It's what I deserve," and climbed out of the freezing device. He was in a surreal, indescribable place. There were a huge variety of the shapes and colors, but it wasn't bright or fantastical. Wow. It was closer to the faint colors you see if you close your eyes too hard. Fry started walking in the surreal void he was in, and it seemingly went to go on and on. He kept walking for a few minutes, and the colors kept making shapes you could kind of make out, but none of them were pleasant. After his long walk, Fry found a picture on the ground, and it was completely out of place in his new environment. It looked like something drawn in normal Futurama style. It was a photo of himself, Leela, and Bender. Where's Zoidberg? Seriously, where's Zoidberg? Where's Amy? Fry looked at it for a few seconds before beginning to cry again. The picture turned soon to dust, and Fry continued whacking. The view zoomed out until Fry couldn't be seen, until the colors all blended together and turned to solid black. The view Whoopi Goldberg continued to zoom out, and we see that the black was a tiny fragment of the pupil in Fry's eye. His frozen body had fallen out of the freezing unit and was lying in an abandoned room. He was drawn in the same hyper-realistic style as Bart's corpse from the Simpsons episode Dead Bart. Bender and Leela walked into the room, and then they saw what Fry had done to himself. Leela said, "He got what he deserved." What is the spelling? Okay, she checked her watch and said, "Looks like we need to leave for our next delivery." She took a knife out of her pocket, put it in a plain cardboard box, and headed to the ship. Wow. I'm bawling and crying right now, my guys. Anyways, let's find Super Smash Bros. Creepypastas. I am not prepared for this at all. I'm just finding stuff as I go. Oh, on the Creepypasta Land wiki, we got Haunted Super Smash Bros. Brawl. This story presents one of the earliest examples of a black-eyed Sonic in horror stories, even allegedly predating Sonic.exe. The story tells the tale of a man who, in his boredom, downloaded an emulator and a ROM of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. After doing so, he went through the grueling task of attaining all the characters, but things would take a turn once he unlocked Sonic. What if you got Project M+? Could you get Knuckles and Shadow and Silver and Amy and literally everyone else who's included in that pack, and then Goku? That's a good pack. If you guys are interested in it, you should invest into it if you want to. Anyways, the following is the same story, but with the grammar corrected and the use of unnecessary emoticons removed. You can read the original here. Oh, let's do the original. Alright guys, get ready. Bored on my PC, my brother decided to download a Wii emulator. In the download page it said that Super Smash Bros. Brawl came included. After 3 days of waiting, we got it to work. And the game the page mentioned was indeed present. Day by day we played it, and the desperation to attain all the characters grew more and more. We also played the classic mode to attain the trophies of the characters. In one of those matches in classic mode, in the end, Sonic's darkened figure appeared. Oh, so you're racist against a black Sonic, dude. Okay. The typical sound that played, indicating that you had to fight against him. And what happened? We came across Sonic with black eyes. It was weird. Oh, you know what? Get KJ Osborne for this. You'll analyze Sonic's black eyes. Anyways, it was weird to observe Sonic with those eyes. And not the white eyes. He doesn't have white eyes. If you were to have all white eyes, he'd just be Dark Sonic, like in the actual canon for Sonic X. He has sometimes black/white pupils. And then they're green. Come on. It was not easy at all to beating him. I wasn't able to, but since my friend was pretty skilled at that kind of stuff, we invited him over and he managed to beat him. Here you can see it. There's no end image. There's nothing there. Just to be clear, this is a random match in Brawl, not the match I previously described. Well, going on with what I was narrating, after having beaten him in Classic and trying him out in Brawl, everything went horribly wrong. Observe and listen carefully to this matchup. What on earth is that noise? It's annoying. What the F word happened here? And it's a photoshopped glitch effect with the Wario symbol and Pokemon with Lucario. As you can see, I have no idea what happened here, but that Sonic must have had something to do with it. Because when we first unlocked him and just tried him out, everything was alrighty. Weird noises started to appear on every stage, and those strange words on the results screen always appeared too. But when I played with Sonic, none of that happened. I tried every stage, even those incomprehensible words at the end didn't appear with Sonic. That scared me a bunch. But here's a curious fact about that malignant Sonic, which is misspelled atrociously. If you play as evil Sonic, so Fleetway's into this too, you won't be able to exit the matchup. If you try a brawl, you will be forced to win to get out of the menu, or let yourself be killed by the NPC, because not even the escape button lets you out of the stage. Observe the following video, which is an M, yet again. Another thing, the configuration of the Wii console controller. I didn't configure it. The moment we installed it, we entered options and then I configured it. We set it to enter to go to the menu, and escape to go there too. However, those worked at that point. To finish this off, I'll leave you with a short video where you will see that images aren't always what they seem. Dude, there's still no pictures in the original version as well. That literally led to nowhere, dude. Like, I don't know what that was. It's very boring, very all over the place. There were no images. Lost of time. Whatever. Now we're on our third story, Super Smash Bros. Melee. That's all it's called. You all know that game for the GameCube called Super Smash Bros. Melee, right? The fighting game with all of those Nintendo characters like Mario, Fox, Kirby, and Ganondorf? Oh my god! Well, you can find all the scripts, models, textures, and files in the games if you can access the files using a program. One script called char.txt contains all of the variables and movesets for the in-game characters. Each character has a text file that refers to their models, too, in a folder called car. In order to add my texture hacks, I needed to copy all the files, period, to my computer. While copying, I noticed there were 26 items, but I was sure there were only 25 characters. To make sure I explored the file names, all of the normal files were there. There was Sea Falcon, Falco, Dong, and then I came across Hidaka. I opened the file and noticed his variable number happened to be 119-121-2528. Everyone, he doxed his phone number. I assumed they must have randomly generated the numbers, otherwise it would have been between 1 through 26. His texture file was located in e:/ssbm/textures/car/model texture/hidaka. The contents of the folder were quite disturbing. What I saw was a PNG file of a Japanese girl dressed like a hooker. She had been stabbed and mutilated to the extreme, especially at her stomach. It's one of these stories, isn't it, man? It was cut clean. It was called hidaka.png and was the main model texture. I absolutely couldn't believe my eyes. Why in the world would that be on the disc? I eventually remembered that I had bought this used from a flea market. It had no instruction booklet. It was replaced by what I thought might have been cheat codes or a walkthrough written on a sheet of printer paper. Printer's misspelled somehow. Anyways, I got out of the case and unfolded the cheat codes. Instead of cheats, I saw some Japanese writing. I couldn't translate at the time, so I went back to the computer. I checked the script and saw that Hidaka was a hidden character. To unlock him, you had to, from what I understood, KO the purple-colored Peach 4 times in a row without taking damage while playing Ganondorf. The message that came with my strange hacked version of Super Smash Bros. Melee, and there's an actual picture this time, but it's in Japanese text, so I have no idea what it's saying. I found it odd, but I ended up doing it. After KOing Peach for the 4th time, I went to the new character select screen. That was all horribly misspelled, by the way. Instead of a battle, it showed a video of a Japanese woman who murmured things in Japanese. Wow, what a surprise. A knife was in her eye. Oh, okay. Now that's a turn. Wouldn't expect. Because my parents were home, I quickly turned the volume down and waited. I did not dare to look full on, but I did peek every now and then. It went on for 4 minutes until the sound of a gunshot rang out and the woman's head jerked back. Then it cut to black. It displayed 2 things on the screen. Hiroki Hidaka's taste for blood shall be quenched, and you have gotten the HH trophy. I looked into the trophies but found there wasn't an actual trophy displayed. The description was still there though. It said, "Finding this was your mistake." At this point, my GameCube restarted itself and went to the normal Super Smash Bros. Melee menu. There wasn't any music or sound, now that I think about it, but I began a match. I chose the thumbnail-less Hiroki Hidaka and pitted myself against Kirby. I can't tell if Hiroki Hidaka is an actual character or something, I don't know. So this makes this a whole lot more interesting. Corneria was the stage. Nothing happened for a moment before text popped up to the screen that said, "Finding this was your mistake." My finger immediately went for the power button. I must have pressed reset instead, as the game didn't shut off. I could hear the disc spinning rapidly as if trying to play Crysis 2 on a laptop. The TV started displaying the same Japanese woman with a knife in her eye, but instead it was a still image. There was a caption that said, "Play as Hidaka and this could be you." I later found out the Japanese text on that paper that came in the game's case translated to the exact same words and was even signed by Hidaka. It turns out he's a Japanese serial killer who was executed on December 25th, 2026. Okay, do you mean 2006? Why is it 20? I'm not even going to question it. That was the same Christmas I bought this game. Alright, we're going to find out. Hiroki Hidaka. Wow, he even misspelled the dude's name. Executed on... No, date apprehended was on September 21st, 1996. They're writing fan fictions about serial killers. Like actual serial killers. It's like... Wait, you know what? I know this has nothing to do with what I was just talking about like right now, but we're gonna find some Scott Pilgrim creepypastas. I don't even like that. Oh my god, wait, hold on. They don't exist. They do not exist, fellas. What about Evangelion? Oh my god. Fall Guys X Evangelion collab creepypasta fandom wiki. The world. You know what? Trollpasta might actually have some good stuff. I don't know why I didn't think of going to this website in the first place. They got some real nice stories, even if they're just really stupid. Like I remember this one about Full House. Oh! You know what? Let's just go to Full House for now. Alright. The Full House episode question mark on the Trollpasta wiki if you guys want to read this for yourselves. And here we go. To start off, I'm pretty sure everyone has heard of or seen the TV show Full House, that classic happy-go-lucky show airing from the 80s to the 90s, or even known as the show with Bob Saget and John Stamos. Anyways, I was surfing on the Pirate Bay on day, looking for things like music, games, torrents, etc. But that's not important. Yes, it is. So when I was about done looking around on the site, I see a few television series and it caught my attention. So I looked at them, and they were nothing but shows like SpongeBob and Family Guy. So I ignored the others until I came upon the Full House series. I remember being young and watching the show every day before I went to school. With a small smile on my face, I clicked the page. Then a page opened up showing every episode from every season. But there was only one episode that caught my eye. One peculiar and different episode. The title of the episode was question mark, and I had never heard this episode, let alone did I even know it existed. After all this happened to me, I did lots of research. Apparently, the creator of the show, Jeff Franklin, wanted to end the series early since there were not many views because the show was just not that popular like all the others were. I find that very hard to believe. Anyways, so Jeff decided that he would make a final episode, a way to end the series with a bang. So they actually did do this episode, they just didn't air it. Anyways, I clicked on the download and when it was finished I opened it. The show started up normally, playing the cheery everywhere you look theme. It brought a smile to my face as I was reminiscing my early childhood. You could just watch the theme song on YouTube. And the screen then faded to black for a few seconds, and that is where the show began. Okay, Joey and Jesse were setting up banners and blowing up balloons for Michelle's birthday party. DJ and Stephanie then came running into the room. Stephanie started to tell everyone about a couple of childish games she came up with that they could play at the party. You know what I'm surprised with right now? I'm cutting out of the story. There have been no grammatical errors so far. I didn't know this was possible. The Trollpasta wiki has better spelling and writing than the... I don't even know how to term it anymore. Anyways, where was I? I lost it because there's an ad here about cookies. Anyways, okay. DJ and Stephanie then came running into the room. Stephanie started to tell everyone about a couple of childish games she came up with that they could play at the party. Joey then told them to be ready to surprise Michelle when she walks in. All of a sudden, there was a ringing of the doorbell, so everyone turned off the lights and hid behind the furniture. Danny and Michelle then walked in, and everyone yelled, "Surprise." A cute little smile rose above Michelle's little cheeks. Okay. Then they decided to invite all of Michelle's friends over for cake, presents, and games. They then headed outside. When they went outside, the camera shook a little and there was no sound, almost as if it was paused. It then cut to the scene outside, but this is where things got weird. Michelle and her friends were around a picnic table and they were talking about random small things until a gust of wind blew off. Oh no! Come on, guys! You were on a good roll. Now there's grammatical errors. Blew off Michelle's birthday hat from the table. Michelle then started chasing it, the wind blowing it further and further every time she tried to grab it, until it landed in the middle of the road. Michelle then stood there, putting the hat on, unaware of the oncoming car. Oh my god. Joey, Jesse, and Danny were yelling and chasing to rescue Michelle, telling her to get out of the road. Then there was a swerving and crashing noise. It didn't show what happened, but the horrified look at everyone's face pretty much gave away what happened. The camera then shook violently and cut to a picture of Michelle for a few seconds and cut to black. This is where the next scene began, everybody. It showed Danny, Joey, Jesse, DJ, and Stephanie at a funeral, and they all had blank, emotionless looks on their faces. There was no sound. Danny then started softly sobbing to himself, as well as Stephanie and DJ. Joey and Jesse comforted both Danny and the children. Danny then looked at them and told them about how the accident was all his fault. Joey and Jesse angrily protested with tears, telling them that it wasn't his fault, but theirs. Then there was no sound again. All it showed was everyone staring at the camera with the same blank stare for a few seconds, until it cut to static. The next scene began to play. Danny was in his room all alone sobbing, and then he looked up with a blank stare and walked over to a record player where he proceeded to play the song Crying by Roy Orbison. That is super oddly specific. He then walked over to the closet and pulled out a noose. Oh my god. He also spoke to the noose saying, "Hello, old friend, looks like I need you more than ever now." Danny then hung himself and his body was swaying back and forth for a minute. The camera zooming in on his swinging body. The scene then cut to a pause and the next scene began. I love repetition. It was Jesse. He was getting on his motorcycle with no helmet or protective gear. He then started up the bike and headed down the street. It then cut to Jesse riding his bike in the city. There was no sound, but I could see him mouthing the words "why." Jesse then stopped on the gas. Okay, now it's a run-on sentence. Jesse then stomped on the gas pedal and the screen quickly went to black. It was later on revealed that he committed suicide by slamming his bike into an oncoming semi-truck. And say the line! The next scene then began to play. Okay, no more. The scene showed Joey. He was in tears while packing up a few of his puppets into a box. He then picked up a Popeye doll and impersonated his voice, thinking he's the next Billy West, saying, "It's all your fault, Joey. No one else but you." He gave a Popeye chuckle. He then reached into the box and pulled out a pistol, and then he proceeded to hold it to his head and stare blankly at the screen. A still image of Michelle then came onto the screen, but I could hear Joey sobbing and whispering something to himself that I could not understand. I then heard a gunshot and then a thud. It's not even with a or a TH. It's just thud, like Elmer Fudd. And this is when the next scene quickly came up. Oh my god. At least it's worded a little different, right, guys? It was DJ on her bed sobbing. I could barely hear an audible crying from a baby. But I don't know why. From this point, there was no longer any sound in the episode. Just a low humming noise. DJ ran into the bathroom and started running the bath, where she then grabbed a razor from the medicine cabinet and got into she got into the bath. No nudity was shown, but there was nothing but static for a few seconds until it came back on. It showed DJ in the bathtub lying lifeless and staring at the camera, and the camera then zoomed in on her face, checking around just a little bit, and then faded to black. The final scene then began to play. It was Stephanie. She was walking around the house, wiping tears from her face, and knocked on the bathroom door. She guessed that since there was no response, that no one was in the bathroom. She then opened the door. Yeah, it's just like, she then opened the door and began screaming and crying, so she then ran to her bedroom window, opened it up, and jumped out, killing herself. The show ended there. No credits played, and the humming noise became a slight beeping noise. I exited the window and got rid of the file. I'm not sure if the episode is still on the Pirate Bay, but I'm positive that there are other torrents for it. With the information that I told you that I found out earlier, I found another quite interesting thing. Apparently, others have seen the episode too and questioned the people on the show about it. Rumor has it that Jeff Franklin threatened blackmailed many of the cast members and told them never to talk about the episode to anyone. So Jeff just continued the series up until 1995, when Full House finally ended, including the appearance from Scott Menville. I'm not exactly sure why anyone would come up with such a morbid way to end such a nice television show. If any of you are able to see the episode, I wouldn't recommend uploading the episode to YouTube. It would most likely... Same goes for Google. If you try to upload pictures like I did, they will be removed, even though I'm not sure why. Always use Imgur, always use Mega, always use your private gallery. It's very simple. I guess everything has their secrets, even the happiest of things, like a simple 90s sitcom. Wow. That is very similar to what I read. It wasn't exact, but it was very, very similar. I wonder if there's VeggieTales creepypasta. There's gotta be something. There is. Oh no. I am not doing Mr. Lent's Rampage though. Okay, let's just do the first one. It's called VeggieTales 1994, the unofficial sequel to VeggieTales 1993. Growing up, VeggieTales 1993 was one of my favorite stories. Obviously, I didn't believe it was real until yesterday. Yes, yesterday was the Tahe Day We Gare. I started believing that VeggieTales 1993 real. In fact, I am also a big VeggieTales fan, as well as a VeggieTales 1993 fan. I found an episode of the show, apparently last to time. The period is so spaced out. It was made in 1994, and it was titled Bob the Tomato is a Little B Word, with the I being capitalized. Of course, I wanted to own this episode for my own self. Let me tell you, I was a big VeggieTales fan. Let me tell you, I would have paid anything for this episode. Let me tell you. Luckily, I found a copy of the episode on eBay for the low price of $6.66. And for €1, now let me tell you, you may or may not be asking how I knew this episode even was real. Well, let me tell you, I first learned about this episode, let me tell you, from the VeggieTales wiki. Let me tell you, arguably the most reliable source on the internet. Now, let me tell you, I thought it might be slightly unrealism for the B word to become in the title, since VeggieTales is a Christianity show. But I believe the existence anyhow. Instead of putting anyhow, I just put anyhow. Oh, open the box slap at my doorstep. I immediately tear through it. VHS move out with the period Looking, it's just spaced out, but it just looks weird. After I put VHS into my specialized VHS playing machine, episode period started normally enough. However, both Bob and Larry's designs were different. They both looked spooky. Bob was in dining room. Larry bring out delicious baked potato. Bob look at potato, comma, period. And say, what is this? Larry then say back, it is baked potato. Bob ask, what is a potato? Larry say, don't tell me you never seen a potato before. Bob say, it look quite tasty. He then take a bite and say in high-pitched voice, tastes very strange. Larry say, stop lying. You know what potato is. Admit it. Bob then said, oh, that's different. No, I don't know what potato is. Larry then say, liar, get the F out of my house. Bob told him he was irrational for getting angry at him for not knowing what potato is. Larry then get angry and he go Super Saiyan 4 and wreck the world with his laser eyes. Last episode has become trauma for me. I am not able to sleep. Now think about this. Now let me tell you, I not know what to do. Today I see Bob and Larry consistently. Where is my mind? Pixies, what the? One solution, only one that exists. I ran to the Grand Canyon and I jumped off. Currently writing this, all of this in midair. Don't watch VeggieTales. That was god awful. There's got to be an Animaniacs one here. Animaniacs featuring corrupted boyfriend. I don't know what that is. Oh, Wacko's Insanity. Okay. Jess Harnell. I feel bad. He went from Adventures in Odyssey to Wacko's Insanity. You may be heard of the original Animaniacs that used to air on Fox Kids around 1993 through 1998. That show caused a lot of popularity, and it Evan, like the name Evan, and Evan had a reboot from 2020 and now on with new episodes. But let's go into the topic of how I saw our last episode of original Animaniacs. I was always a big Animaniacs fan when the 2020 reboot came out. What? It was a sunny day in Philadelphia, and I was at a garage sale. And I found something interesting that caught my eyes. And then I found an Animaniacs DVD with its casing. I know, pretty generic. Just some DVD I found. This unknown Animaniacs DVD I found was called The Animaniacs Volume 6 with 5 discs. The DVD cover consisted of the Warner siblings in a purple background, with Wacko Warner closer to the cover with Yakko Warner and Dot Warner inches away from him. It also had the Animaniacs logo and the Steven Spielberg Presents logo. On the back of the cover, the episodes were Message in a Bottle, The Kid in the Lid, Slippin' on Ice, Cute First, and one unheard episode with a strange title called Wacko's Insanity. Oh, so it's about Wacko Warner raging. Whatever happened to Chris raging? I can't find anything about him. It was that kid, and like he looked like he was like from Canada or something like that, and it was always cold. I feel like that's just a lost relic to time. I have not been able to find anything about it. I've tried K-R-I-S-C-H-I-R-I. Oh my god. C-H-R-I-S. He's just gone forever. Alright, anyways, back to the story. I rushed towards the living room in my house and put the DVD inside the TV until I saw Brad Taston music. Oh my god. No, I made it up. It's not part of the story. The logos, promos, and first 4 episodes were very, 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 very normal. But the final episode was shocking and horrifying to see. Now, all of a sudden, every single first letter in every word in this sentence or paragraph is capitalized. Wonderful. It started with the normal theme song, but the colors were different. The black colors were replaced with blue, and the white colors were replaced with red. After the intro ended, the title card then popped up and said, Wacko's Insanity. The text was blood red, and the background was black. Then the episode started with Wacko Warner walking down a field in a depressed manner. I don't know what was his deal, but I continued forward. So you just got out of your seat or your couch or whatever and just like walked forward to your TV just to see more, to rot your brain cells because of all the radiation coming from the TV. Nice. Wacko Warner then sat on the grass and started crying for some unknown reason. It didn't sound anything usual at all. It wasn't in a cartoonish way, but sounds like if his voice actor, Jess Harnell, was actually in the feeling of a true sorrow, probably the most realistic. The environment around him was almost dark and depressing, as it was a sad and cloudy day in Philadelphia. What is it with Philadelphia? What is he, the next M. Night Shyamalan? It then only worsened. Wacko's crying was more pained, and he punched one of his fists on the ground in true anger and depression. This isn't the usual cartoon character Norm at all. Oh, we can do Norm and Norm fanfiction creepypasta later. No one else came to comfort Wacko Warner as this behavior worsened in the scene. Why was he upset? I questioned curiously. What did they ever do to him? Later on, Wacko Warner stopped crying in his brutally depressed attitude and ran towards where the other Warner siblings were. It then cuts to the second Animaniac segment where the Warner siblings were at the water tower having chicken nuggets for dinner. They enjoyed it, except for Wacko, of course. He's still not in the mood to eat his dinner. Then Dot walked up to him and asked, "Why are you not eating your dinner?" Wacko Warner is not in a good mood, Dot. Dr. Otto Scratch and Sniff answered. I would not imagine they just say their full names like that. It's super casual in that show. So being like, Wacko Warner is not in a good mood, Dot, that is weird delivery. If it would even exist, hypothetically. Then Wacko Warner, in a fit of rage, punched Dot Warner in the eyeball, and Dot screamed and cried in pain as she got punched, causing her to have an eye injury. That is a really crappy sentence. Anyways, Wacko also threw his plate on the floor, causing the plate to break and spill on the ground. Why, Wacko Warner? Yako, which is spelled really weird, which is why I pronounced it that way. Shouted in shock, worriedly. I am very sad. I am very mad. Wacko Warner snapped as he ran away from the water tower, crying realistically. Realistic panic attacks. All animation clicks when they find out Mario isn't having a panic attack. Anyways, seems like Wacko Warner snapped. Dr. Otto Scratch and Sniff concluded. Yeah, no wonder. He's literally going insane. Oh, it's Buddy Love, and he's going coconuts. Dot Warner then got up, pretty injured, and asked, "Why is Wacko so angry today?" Finally, a normal recognition of your own sibling. I don't know, Dr. Otto Scratch and Sniff answered. Based response. They then got out of the water tower to find Wacko Warner, which turned out horribly misspelled, but unsuccessful. The environment is still dark and depressing. The search goes on, and I'm starting to feel bored. Finally, one of the Warner siblings, Dot Warner. You could have just said Dot. My God. Found Wacko Warner in the forest, facing away. Like it was the Blair Witch Project. Dot Warner then asked in a concerned voice, "Are you Ock?" went Wacko. It's O-C-K, as it's spelled in this text. As Dot tapped Wacko, what I saw next scared me as he turned to face the camera. Wacko's appearance in the next scene in the episode looked unusually horrifying. His skin was gray, his nose was replaced with a realistic human nose, his eyes were replaced with black holes with black ink coming out of them, and he also had an alien-like mouth that was the shape of an O with sharp teeth around it. It looked like as if he was possessed. Prometheus looking brother. I was not ready for this scene to happen. Wacko Warner then started screaming so loudly as he looked like that. In fact, it wasn't his voice screaming from the reboot series where someone ate his donuts. It sounded like a man screaming that sounded like SCP-096. How are we supposed to know who that is automatically? I don't even know who that is. I covered my ears even though that they're still bleeding, but I'm still okay. Dot then screamed in fright and ran off toward where Wacko Warner was. Then Wacko Warner started chasing Dot, still screaming. It cuts to Yakko Warner searching for Wacko Warner, but turned out it's still not good. Dot Warner then ran into the scene and told Yakko Warner that Wacko Warner was insane and no longer acting the same. And then the now demonic Wacko Warner appeared in and ran towards the two siblings. His own siblings too! Come on. He lets out that same scream from before as he just appeared behind the two Warner siblings. Then the two siblings ran away, screaming in terror realistically. It cuts to Yakko and Dot running realistically. Oh, and screaming in fright as the demonic Wacko Warner appearing behind them. Dot Warner then tripped over a rock that was there for some reason, and she was crying realistically because of the pain from her injury that looked realistic. Oh my god. This isn't a joke. This is real. And then Wacko Warner grabbed her by the ankle and smashes it with the rock. Just grabs Dwayne Johnson and just BAM! And Dot was crying again because of the pain from her injuries. Wacko then ripped out Dot's heart, and Dot was screaming in agony, and Wacko shoved Dot's heart into her throat. Oh my god. It's kind of sick in the head, don't you agree, fellas? He cuts to Yakko Warner running into the water tower, trying not to be found by the deranged Wacko who went on a murder spree. You can take the hippos. One of them, I think, is voiced by Frank Welker, so I think that's okay. And Katie Kaboom too. Take her out of the show. He hid behind the first bunker bed as the demented Wacko Warner ran into the water tower, letting out that same scream once again. Then Dr. Otto Scratch and Sniff appeared in front of him and said, "Please don't kill me, Wacko." Wacko Warner then pulled out a thick but sharp and pointy stick that came out of nowhere and stabs Dr. Otto Scratch and Sniff with it. Wacko Warner then found Yakko Warner hiding behind the first bunker bed and grabbed him and strangled him very hard. Yakko was choking as Wacko grabbed him by the neck. Wacko then pulled out a bloody butch knife that came out of nowhere and stabbed Yakko in the forehead. Yakko died. Wacko Warner then pulled out a box of matches and gasoline that came out of nowhere. And then he poured the gasoline everywhere. Lit one of the matches up and threw it where the spills from the gasoline left off. Then the entirety of the water tower catches fire as Wacko Warner escaped. It then cuts the water tower so in flames and crashes to the ground. All of the Warner siblings were dead, except Wacko, since he became a demonic entity who killed them all. I kind of gathered that, but I guess thanks for the summary. The end dong vein. The end dong. The end dong. But the clip in the background was a clip of Wacko Warner lurking to find any more victims to kill. Then the episode ended. I was traumatized by this, so much so I then threw the DVD into the trash can. I had nightmares of this where the main 3 stars, the Animaniacs, which is in quotations for whatever reason, were chasing me with bloody butcher knives. I then woke up. I was fine all of a sudden. If you ever find a DVD that is called Wacko's Insanity, please don't watch it or else you'll have the same nightmare I had. Unless you're emotionally numb. Seriously, I'm begging you. Credited to Banana Splits movie fan. Someone from 30 months ago commented, kinda good actually. I don't know if that's in reference to the quality of the story or just like what happened to the dude. I wonder if there's Pepper Ann fanfiction. I mean creepypasta. Give me a moment. Oh my god. No, there's a talk page, but it's pretty much not even existing in our current realm as of now. Yeah. There's nothing. Okay, so let's go find Doug creepypastas. Milo Murphy's Law creepypasta. Douglas not so funny on the last episode creepypasta wiki. Nice. Doug trips out on LSD to cope with the traumatic experience of Mr. Dink molesting him. Oh my god. When Doug moved to Bluffington, his new neighbor Mr. Dink immediately took note of him. Dude, you're ruining Mr. Dink. He's wholesome. He's very wholesome knee surgery, okay? The first thing he did was invite him into his house just to show him a movie. And then the next day, after hanging out in the Lucky Duck Lake, he was washing the mud off a pork chop. Suddenly, Mr. Dink shows up in the bushes with a camera. You know who could save Doug in a situation? Chalky. Get Chalky and help him. Just transform into Quail Man. Like your El Chapulín or something. He claims he was only trying to get a pic of a nematode. But clearly, he was trying to get a pic of his young new neighbor. Mr. Dink is always inviting Doug into his home to show him a new, very expensive product. But most of the action is never seen, so we never know what Mr. Dink is doing with Doug. One would be curious about why a grown man would be constantly inviting a kid to his house, much less lending out expensive equipment that is prone to breaking. Mr. Dink always offers for Doug to work on any project in the shed. The shed had a lot of secure grammar measures on it. Surely Bluffington isn't that dangerous. Why is this? Perhaps to warn Mr. Dink if someone such as Doug's parents is on the way and if he needed to clean up? Also, why is Mr. Dink, excuse me, I burped, letting an 11-year-old boy use his equipment and resources for free? There must have been some sort of payment Doug was making to Mr. Dink. Also, Mr. Dink has no kids. He is also a scoutmaster of Doug's Bluff Scout troop. If that's not creepy enough, you may recall the episode where Doug, Skeeter, and Mr. Dink get lost on a canoeing trip. Mr. Dink travels into the woods to try and find Cap, and eventually Doug and Skeeter go looking for him. When they found him, he is completely naked in a tree looking down at them. Sorry boys, must have lost my pants. How's that not a red flag? A confused Doug found peace in a curious substance his sister brought home. Oh, Judy, why are you bringing this stuff home? Where's she getting it from? Though we never truly see Doug receive LSD from Judy, it is suggested. Judy is adamant about Doug keeping out of her room. Remember the episode when Doug had to sneak into her school? Judy was effing pissed that Doug went through her stuff at home. Perhaps this is due to Judy discovering that Doug was take a piece of two of blotter paper. I don't even know what that is. I can't even use context clues for this because it's like, what? Then there was the episode where Doug was home alone and Doug snuck into Judy's room. Why would he be doing that? Surely he has seen her room before. Maybe he was going in to get something specifically, like the specifically hallucinogenic drugs. It's important to note that you must make distinctions between Doug's daydreams and his acid trips. Typically, Doug's daydreams are more fantastical and have no effect on the world around him. Doug's acid trips tend to be more realistic. I already got tired of the word realistic and show a distorted view of the world around him. In addition, Doug's interactions with his hallucinations are usually observed by other people who are viewing Doug. Examples of Doug's hallucinations are as follows. This is like Shadow579 when he made that video about like Tails is like lost it, and it was like obviously a joke. The episode when Doug gets his new Super Pretendo. Doug's first hallucination is when he's in space and suddenly he's in the classroom and Miss Wingo says, "Doug, what are you doing?" This is the same episode where he says nutsuckers, by the way. Doug has absolutely no idea what just happened. Roger says something to him and Roger suddenly becomes pixelated. Then Roger says, "What are you staring at, funny?" Also in this episode, Doug is looking at his school book when the island transforms into a spaceship and begins flying around Doug. Doug's eyes follow this imaginary spaceship. In the episode when Doug goes camping with the Boy Scouts, Roger tells Doug to go get some firewood. While he's in the woods, the tree next to him starts moving. The forest gets all colorful and wavy and Doug's hallucinates. And he has seen green creatures on the ground. Doug falls down and suddenly purple vines are above him. Only a spoonful is above him, but shaded in purple. Then everything goes back to normal, with Doug on the ground and Rug dangling some rope above him. Everyone laughs at Doug for freaking out. In the episode of the Scary Movie, Doug starts this hallucination when he's at the theater. Suddenly, everything is very dark and forbidding looking. The trees have fantastical faces and are whispering. Doug looks up at the traffic light, which transforms into a giant spider. Doug ends this trip inside of his house. There are no scenes of Doug in the normal world returning home. He goes from theater straight to his bed. In the above-mentioned episode where Doug is home alone, he sneaks into Judy's room for no apparent reason. Later, when he goes into the basement, Doug begins hallucinating. Excuse me, I burped again. Well, not burped, I feel like it was like an internal thing. I don't even know if that came on the microphone, but anyways. All the items transform into various creatures that threaten Doug. Doug, being terrified of the hallucinations, attacks one with a vacuum. It is revealed that the creature he attacked was simply a mannequin. There are but a few of many hallucinations. There's even a linked video. This video is unavailable. Let's see. Is this true? Yeah, it's true. Unfortunately, what to make Doc watch a creepypasta? I was watching a famous one, and he said caca with blood coming out of his eyes. That'd be weird. Alright, what else was on my mind? Well, I want more Sonic ones. Because those, they have this weird fan base with that game, Friday Night Funkin'. And this, like, other obsession with this Shin Sonic coming out in Minecraft. I don't know why. When did it start? Why does it have to be like that, man? It's freaking weird. The heartbreaking story behind the darkest Sonic creepypasta ever? I highly doubt that. I really highly doubt that, dude. The Douglas Brothers creepypasta. This is only on Reddit. Oh, never mind, it's some weird TikTok thing. Okay, the Nostalgia Critic. Creepypastas, everybody. You know what? What if there are subcategories? Yeah, categories. Let's see, everyone. We got classics, featured pastas, fail of the month. Please delete this now. Unfunny. All right, classics. See what we got. Amazing. Oh, the grieving. I don't know. I feel like that one's like really, really well known. It would just kind of be redundant to have that be in this episode. I called my teacher mom once. What's that? And Jane the Killer? That's it. Wow. You guys are like, what, 6th or 7th or maybe like 8th creepypasta? Done. I called my teacher mom once. That's it. Wow. Oh! We got My Hair is on Fire. One day I woke up and saw my hair was on fire. Wow. Nina the Killer, Once Upon a Time, Red Mist. Oh, you know what? Rugrats. Rugrats. Let's do Rugrats. Thread. Strange Rugrats tape. Need help. Rugrats last episode.avi. Chucky's mom. Tommy dies. The Rugrats in, the rats take the cheese. What the? Well, before we get back to this, let's do Hey Arnold. The oldest ones. Alright. Howell Gets Dead. I remember that one. That one kind of sucks. The Furnace. You know what? We can do that one again. I had already done it a while back. But there's also Miss Frizzle Gets Crunk. The unreleased Nickelodeon movie. Okay, let's do this one first. You know how if you watch Nickelodeon enough times, all the Nicktoons seems to get darker and darker in a way, which isn't even stylized as a question, it's just a straight up period. Well, this is a lot like that. A buddy of mine worked at the studio, though I never really remembered what his exact position was. However, I do remember that he worked at the studio for some time. This was around the time that Hey Arnold the movie came out. If you're wondering about that, this is part of the story, but that was in 2002. And so that after the film, they planned 3 things. A new season of Hey Arnold with a more updated storyline that was non-canon to the original series. Wow, that's really dumb. A new live-action series with a darker 90s style, like Afraid of the Dark, about kids living in a cul-de-sac. A TV movie based upon the scrapped live-action series. Wow. Now, when the 2 shows were scrapped, the movie remained. They wanted to go back to the 90s with this film and would have succeeded. He told me about them hiring writers of dark-themed kiddie shows to write the film titled Grimland. Upon explanation, there was a dispute between several of the writers, leading to their execution. He said he actually got a chance to see what the production was like. Let's get the definition of a foul, man. Flush the rolling, man. Bussies down. Spoil plan. Okay, no. You know, before visualizing the realism of life in actuality, don't know it's the baddest of person saddest spent on salary. And my mentality is money orientated. I'm destined to live the dream for all my peeps and never made it. Cause yeah, we were beginners in the hood, that's 5%, but something must have got in us. Cause all of us sinners are some risking the pieces on my sitting in and quitting. Of us, this is myself. Getting the saliva in my mouth. Ew. Well, you get the idea. I've done that several times already. Read. I recorded some conversations because his state of being seemed to get worse since he first mentioned it to me. What Grimland was about is the 1990s and the scary S word on TV all the time. I opposed to the idea of the Hey Arnold series because their plan was to have the characters in more adult themes like the Patakis. Well, Arnold's grandparents were to have died after the film, leading Arnold to problems in his life. Helga becomes obsessed with Arnold to the point where in the opener she is seen being heavily impregnated with Arnold's child. Seeing a baby with a football-shaped head in a sonograph, where at the end of season 1 she was to have the baby. Now this was supposed to be considered a type of gag where Helga would actually be into the pregnancy to enjoy every moment, rubbing it in his face every time, trying to force him to marry her for sake of the baby. When she refuses, she cradles her belly and rubs it. Oh, you can just put in a divorce story. Good lord. Stalks him profusely, unlike the locket with a picture of him like in the original series. At one point, she was to have said, according to the script, due to your careless actions, I now have a piece of you inside of me. Gerald was to have joined a gang which resulted in severe activity and shootings. There's just a period, and then it's just and shootings. This series was never meant to be for children due to not only the changes of the characters, the obsessiveness of Helga, especially her pregnancy, but the fact that there was more adult themes to the show as well, including indications of Mr. Simpson, which means Mr. Simmons, Mr. Simpson being homosexual. The school psychopath actually killing living beings and so many others. I'm glad the executives never put on the air. After a small while, I got curious. I asked him about the second show, and he said that nothing came of it. Well, that's a lie. They converted it into a movie, and this intrigued me. I asked him if it was even aired. F no. I mean, it was shot, edited, and everything, but there is a great reason why it never aired. And explanation of the reason made it clear to me that some freaky S-word was happening. I noticed that he wasn't looking too hot, so I told him to get some sleep. I got an email from his recently. I have decided to include it in this. It's relevant.
Hey man, I didn't get an inch of sleep yesterday. All those memories started to seep into my dreams. I want to make things clear that yes, I'll tell you everything I can tell you, but there has to be a point where this ends, man. Talk to you later, dude. I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Peace. What can I tell you about Grimland? Well, first was the writing staff. All were ex-kiddie shows. Host note for darker themed kiddie shows, which was odd for a network like that to hire about 10 or 11 of them for one movie.
Another were ideas that they had. I'm not doing that voice anymore. What were the ideas? Let's see. First, the opening was completely freaky deaky. So tie doll signs in it, or what? It began with two kids on a moonlit fall night, heavy fog and all, running through the streets of their own town. One falls down and begs for his friend to help him up. I was going to try to find a rhyme, just for the joke of it. There was a shot of the F word getting dragged off, screaming nonetheless, as his buddy took too long to contemplate helping him. Heavy tearing of flesh was heard. Excuse me, and screams stopped. Like someone was eating him alive almost. The kid takes off and the title comes up. What the F was up with that? Well, they used that opening sequence, but the script somehow differed. One featured a main character being a 19-year-old with an abusive father, another a 20-year-old loner with no family whatsoever. Now, there was a conflict, but some had good pointers and ideas. Then stuff got weird. I gotta explain what the fog was, but it never got far into it. Well, there were some fights, a couple of FUs thrown about, resulting in the execution of about 3. See, this is obsessed with freaky and execution. Oh. The rest and the quote-unquote memory phone writers used some characters that explained that the 19-year-old's father abused her as a kid, to which she turned to witchcraft. The loner was to have gotten one of the characters, the witch girl, in fact pregnant, in a later scene, resulting in him getting his brains splattered and forced suicide. High counts of blood, gore, mutilation, like effing sadism all over the place, and the executives allowed this. After a while, I told him he should stop and change the subject, he said, and I swear I thought that I got it on tape. He said, they wanted to effing kill the kids. The Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters that weren't seen in the opening were cannibals. Hypnotized. Hypnotized by that effing B word. They were described in graphic detail. Every scene, every character, every little thing. And it still haunts me. When the shooting began. Well, when shooting began, they casted the roles perfectly. Oh, the opening scene was shot, and the shooting went deep to the nearing end of November. Production was a horror show. I mean graphic. But you want to know what was the freakiest? They shot a scene where a witch girl, age 20, is forced to watch a man stab another person. They basically shot a snuff scene for a Nickelodeon film. Executives heard and they immediately said that it wasn't to be used. This pissed off the director and he wanted revenge. He had them shoot some graphic stuff, man. The deaths described I thought were worse, but when they were seen, they were so effing horrifying. I actually threw up. I cliffed. Do you mean quit? I quit and left the effing place. That was about a couple months ago. When I asked him about the footage, he said it's probably in the archive somewhere. God rest their souls. But one thing he remembers is the forced suicide scene. That scene he knows was never staged. I asked the Nick Studios about this film and they basically said F off. My friend killed himself. He couldn't handle things anymore and he said he loved his mom. He hung himself in his backyard from a tree. In his memory, I want to find that movie. Whatever curse he subdued and awoke seems to have gotten to me. I'm determined to find the film if it takes me to my grave. ... Good Lord. Elsa Gate, the last episode. This is the Harold one we're going with now, guys. This is gonna be the last one for right now because I think we've been going on for over an hour, and I want to keep this with a consistent time length or something. Anyways, Elsagate, the last episode on the Troll Pasta Wiki with an NSFW warning. This page is not safe for work or school. Well, I'm at my house. Well, actually, that's my mom and dad's house. I'm not taking ownership of that. The content of the story... Oh, never mind. Oh, it's just a bunch of... Okay, no. I'm a 26-year-old father of one child. Me, my wife, and my child live in a nice house in America. I don't want to keep my child anymore because of one thing that happened. Period. My childhood came up to me. Your childhood? Your whole childhood came up to you? My childhood came up to me and asked, Daddy, can I watch you tub, please? I said, sure, why not? Give me your tab and I will pick a video for you. I saw this video titled Poopy Playtime and Friday Night Pumpkin Funny Adventures, 3D animated videos for kids. The uploader of the video was Playground Kids, and the video looked like something nice for my daughter to watch. Boy, was I wrong. Wait, was it established what the sex of this child was? Let me check. Child, Okay. Guys, I pressed play and gave the tablet back to my son for her to watch. I pressed play and gave the tablet back to my son for her to watch. I was feeling tired from a long day of work, so I wanted to do nothing but lay on the couch and rest. Wait, I heard a scream coming from the other room, so I instantly woke up and ran into the other room where my daughter was. He said, dude, he's tuning out every 5 seconds. He's transitioning every 5 minutes. Man, that estrogen works miracles, everyone. He said, Daddy, Poopy Playtime is gonna drink my pee. Ah. I was like, what? Give me that, let me see. With an exclamation point and then a period at the end. Just then, I could hear my wife yelling from the other room. Can you be quiet? Me and my boyfriend are trying to sleep. I replied with, oops, sorry honey, I'll let you two get back to sleeping. If you know what I mean. I took the tablet into the living room and watched the video. What I saw was truly disgusting. The video started with 5 animated characters jumping on the bed. One character was a long blue guy. Based on what my son said, I'm guessing this is this poopy time guy. The next 4 characters was a kid with blue hair, a red and blue cap, a white shirt with a black symbol on it, blue pants, and red shoes. The sexy character... Okay, what? The sexy character... The sexy character was a red astronaut with no arms. Dang, that is really hot. That is some really hot stuff right there. A red astronaut with no arms. No face. Looked like if a little kid drew it. Dang, even hotter, everybody. The next character was a Minecraft character. The last character was a pink version of the Poppy Playtime character. The song 5 Little Monkeys was playing. Oh, they should do 5 Little Hitlers on the bed. Scott, if I send this to you to watch it. Oh, the 5 Little Hitlers. Anyways. Where was I? I'm already lost. The sexy astronaut with no arms. Okay, the song 5 Little Monkeys was playing as the characters were jumping on the bed. When the line said, one fell off and bumped his head. I said, the blue Poppy Playtime fell off the bed and I was just laying on the floor looking up at the other characters. When it was the next character's turn to fall off the bed and so falling off, the sexy astronaut... The sexy astronaut character farted on the other characters. Oh my god. Well, high-pitched laughing sound played. The other characters looked extremely grossed out. The astronaut, which is spelled like naughty, character jumped down from the bed and started, no joke, started peeing in blue poppy PLSY times mouth. Now, how gross. And next scene showed the sexy red astronaut character again, but with a green one next to him. The red astronaut character, it didn't describe him as sexy, or her, no, her, and there's like no letter A in character. And astronaut is spelled as astronaut. Started pooping behind the red line with the poop was flying over it and hitting on target. He was literally shooting poop from his butt. The poop was doing flips in the air and hitting the target. The red astronaut character told the green astronaut character, now you try. You'll never be good as me. The green sexy astronaut said. Oh yeah, let's see about that. The green sexy astronaut character tries pushing the poop out. Poop just falls to the floor. Dude, this is so demented! The red astronaut points and I guess he moved on to the green one. Story of our lives, am I right, gang? Quote the guy from Rec Room. The red astronaut points and laughs and then farts on him and runs off. Okay. There was so about 16 minutes up to the video. I just turned off. I tried to process what I just saw. How could anybody even think this is okay? Especially for kids, which is all misspelled. I was gonna report the video to YouTube, but when I looked, it was gone. I was kind of freaked out by this, but I'm guessing it was taken down already. Which is good. I decided to look for a Hey Arnold playlist. My daughter, alright, watch. I know exactly why they have this. All the way back in 2023 when this was a huge problem when those weird Vietnam videos were in those Hey Arnold playlists. Oh my god. My daughter to watch. Hey Arnold was an old cartoon I used to watch back in the day, so I decided to look for a playlist of full episodes on YouTube. As I went into the other room, which one has a 0, and to see my son, to give her the tablet. My daughter. Estrogen, the testosterone, to like asexual. Okay, what? No, that doesn't make sense. Never room. My son turned into blue poppy playtime, and there was poop everywhere. I was terrified, so I ran into my wife's room and to tell her about it, but she turned into an Egyptian yellow cat character. Told me to crawl to her. My wife's boyfriend turned into Donald Trump, so I jumped out the window. But when I was falling, red astronaut sexy, poppy playtimes, both blue and pink, and Minecraft character was there, and they actually killed me, and poppy playtime shoved it up and to the point where it rips apart. The doctors brought me back using many surgeries and life support. I am laying in my hospital bed writing this. If you see any video like that, never watch it ever again. Oh my god. What a way to end this off. I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Good night, everybody. Because it's like 2:34. Man, what a way to spend your life. Am I right, everybody? There's people building rocket ships, and I'm here reading this god-awful writing. But hey, embrace it. I know my place. See you later, guys.